All right, we're live.
Song makes me feel like I should be line dancing or something.
Uh,
I get that.
Old song. All right.
All right, let's log in.
All right. Good morning, YouTube. Um, so obviously I felt no need to be on earlier. We have changed nothing. And definitely a day where we could be looking for a potential break. That is obviously first on my radar. We got a wick here that we again have didn't tap yesterday, but more importantly on the 4 hour, right? We've got a little bit of empty space left up to 610. And there's probably going to be some tomfoolery here, if I imagine, if anything, possibly a quick retest. Any shot up and out, immediately at the bell would likely set up a reversal. So that might not be a bad thing. Uh, but we are in range. And this is, if you look on the hourly over here, if you're looking at my chart on the right side or here, and you change this over, obviously we're still well within containment. So there are possible retest of 599.20 at the most, or 599.80 if we gap fill. Of course, our orb isn't the breakout here today, right? It only leads you to the wicks of 606.50. So this is one of those days where I know that patience will pay if, again, we even get the break today. Um, but there's a good day trade opportunity to the upside, obviously to this wick at 607.75 and at the 610 floor. And that is our upside play. So whether we're pulling back, bouncing here, and moving up, and again, there's empty space all the way to cost basis at 613 if we have enough juice. If we shoot up first without a single retest, and it's quick and fast, that's where I suspect we'll see a pullback, for sure. So, B dot chance, pipe down, little man, please, please, please. You just scroll away and go follow some ICT trader. He'll help you. He'll help you for sure. Um, yeah, you got it, bud. All right. So anyway, it is above that orb, and everything that we're looking at right now is read and react. Again, when you open up in range, people who stick to biases can get clapped. Obviously, if we're in a suspended uptrend, that's different, or downtrend. Right now, we are sideways, and so waiting for that break, and having areas both above and below to respond to is the proper way to prepare for a day where you open up in range. Um, let's see here. All right. Anyway, SPY opening up similar, but is technically this morning above the top of those candles on the hourly. So this is a orb setup with a trigger. Yeah, I am looking at the wicks, but more importantly, 689.25 because of the empty space directly up above that, 691.31. So this is not a bad setup here this morning. Um, Obviously, if we end up pulling back and retesting, which again, 30-minute time frame, We have a candle open right here. That's 684.81. You can actually watch right now as we speak, that wick that you just saw in the 15-minute is pushing down off those highs. And that would cause and more than likely give us a gap fill back down where we could reuse all of these areas that we're losing as areas to take this up. All right. So we're, again, in one of those read and react scenarios going forward. So hold on one second. Oh my God, that guy sucks. I'm feeling some type of way. All right. So SPY, obviously, I mean, and this is where, again, if this doesn't fit your risk to reward, you could probably live your whole life without having dedicated your time and energy to just this small pocket of empty space. Again, we're looking at major areas of weekly consolidation that is yet to break. And that is honestly what I'm looking for because I know that bigger move is coming. Or that whether that be down or up. Um, there we go. RNTR. Fucking ridiculous. All right. Last one. And hopefully, and again, look, weekly range. QQQ. That's the only one that isn't inside of its box, but SPY and IWM both in range. So just letting you know, just reminding everybody that after a area like this, we get this, which is going to make your life 10 times easier and trading conditions or trading in general that much easier. So just a reminder of where we're at and whether or not it's worth it. Now, lower time frame, 24-hour candle open yet again, pushing off of that very same 264 level that we have repeatedly hit. If you look at the 4-hour, same overhead ceiling here, same consolidation above and below, right? We got the bounce off of cost basis again. Yesterday, I stated that I believe that with this rejection overhead, we could see a retest back down here. I still think that. And that is the 259.89 area falling underneath 262.37. And again, is that right for you? That is the empty space target of 622. Now, if you're playing this as a channel up and trying to trade it all the way, this could be the type of tension you need. And especially if you're inside of this area, right? If you suspect that there's a much larger break coming, expiration matters. So just an FYI, all of these setups that I see are mostly day trading. So if you see something further, or you're looking at IWM potentially punching over that 267 or pushing over that 267.50 and going into all-time highs, that would be where you do it. There is a downtrend channel that I have been watching, and perhaps if we do pull back and retest this, it'll set up perfect for that. But anyway, is there a trigger above and below? Yes. Are we hitting any of those? Absolutely not. I invested in Upstream Bio. They were doing good before some successful treatment, and then they crashed afterwards. It probably had no. Biopharmaceuticals are not your good long-term holds. I mean, it hardly any of them hold their high. What's the ticker on that one? Upstream Bio. Yeah, that looks about right. So 2024. Well, I mean, if it has any sort of liquidity, if it has any sort of good volume, you might be looking at a bounce here and a retest of 1038. But a lot of the times, you know, empty space is good. Too much of it can actually mean it's bad. But it does allow pretty fluid movement. You know, again, right now the only thing you could look for is if this does bounce, you could try to retest that top that you fell back underneath. So, I'm new to this. Am I buying right now? I'm not buying it right now. No. But slash and how? Oh, how much do I need to start? Question mark. Are you using talk to text right now? How much is your group or system? Um, so how much do you need to start is I mean, some people will tell you need 10,000. I'd say you only need 50 to $100 because the goal is not for you to make money at first. I know that's counterintuitive, but the goal is for you to learn a strategy and to have faith in it, trust it, see it, and then utilize it. And that's going to probably end up, you know, when you're in that learning process, it's could be difficult. More than likely, it will be. Learning some things, you know, learning whether day trading or swing trading is right for you, taking entries, you're going to have to refine your process. So you don't have to take a lot of money into this. And one of the things that I've proven time and time again with people inside of my Discord and myself is that you don't need a lot. We've had people take $40 and turn it into 1,000. You know, like we've had people in one day take, you know, $100 and, you know, have it sitting at 1,200. Um, because we again hyper focus on low risk, high reward opportunities. And the strategy, honestly, um, how much is my system? I mean, if you're brand new, you know, I would say don't worry about paying for my system yet. You have plenty of time to watch me. There is a class on March 1st, and you can obviously sign up for that. But you can go to my YouTube channel and go watch my free educational playlist. I've got a lot of information on there. So, um, but also I personally think that immersion learning is probably one of the best ways to learn, and that's just showing up to these live streams, showing up to the YouTube channel. You know, if you do join the Discord, showing up and asking questions as things move along. That is going to be the best way to learn because you actually, when somebody unloads a fuck ton of information on you, which I mean, I'm about to do, but that information isn't always, you're not going to retain all of it if it's not relevant. And so if you're not immersed inside of trading, and you're not, you know, in an uncomfortable, it's uncomfortable to start that without, you know, because most people when they start trading, they want a like full on one-on-one mentor, and they think that that is going to kind of keep them from, you know, avoiding these pitfalls, but actually ends up bending their learning curve, and creating a longer winded journey. I mean, you're going to end up, you know, honestly, a lot of the people that I've even, you know, in the past have taught one on one, I felt like I was actually prolonging um, their journey rather than accelerating it. It's because what they can independent trading doesn't happen with a mentor over your shoulder, right? I mean, that doesn't, and not only that, like when that person is gone, right? All of those things that your brain was relying on as a safety net, like, oh, this person's right here, I'm good, you know what I mean, is gone. And now you're back to being independent. And now you have to learn how to be doing it on your own and making decisions on your own because you're leaning on somebody else almost wholly. And I know that again, it seems like it's like easier for somebody to just coach me all, but immerse yourself. Be uncomfortable. You're not going to know everything at first. Give yourself a month. Be patient with yourself and with the process. But, you know, that's how I feel about that. Am I self-taught? Yeah. If you're nothing without the suit, then you shouldn't have it. Yeah, there you go. A little Iron Man quote works pretty well. Are you teaching us? Are you actually looking for a good trade? Like, are you working also? Yeah, I if I see a good setup, I'll take a good setup. But right now, I'm not seeing a ton of great setups. There's a couple of individual equities that, like Meta last night got news, but just went up and retested his floor and is now looking right back down. And anytime you get news like that, that people might interpret as bullish and can set up a potential move to the downside, which is always fun. But yeah, nice nasty retest off of 657, empty space down below. The only thing that interrupt this process would be a 626, or what is that? Yeah, 629 and 623.80. But yeah, I mean, I don't trade. I'm not like everybody on this app. The concept of showing up every day and trying to place a day trade every day. And one of the things I've struggled with over the years is whether I should even show up at all. I'm obviously here to, on the days where I don't have any trade setups to aid people who do. Um, but obviously, if I show up, people, I don't blame them for thinking this, think that there could be an opportunity. And sometimes I don't see it either. So I try to make that clear. I communicate as much as possible, whether I see something that fits my risk to reward. So, anyway, if you have anything that you would like for me to take a look at this morning, go ahead and do so. Yes, I did look at IWM again. If this rejection follows through at 264, we still have lower time frame range that we still need. And I talked about this last night. There's that 259.90 and 260.99. Both of these areas will be troublesome if you're looking for like a straight line. So we need a candle close below cost basis. And of course, if we're looking short, the opportunity is there, right, to take this down to 257. But it's, if we dump fast down here, then I'm going to bank on a retest of 266. How often do I buy? I mean, I buy when the opportunity is there, man. There's some weeks where less is more. So I don't associate being or taking a trade every day with being profitable. I take trades when my setup is clear. When I see my setup, and I went over this last night. I was like going over some of the setups that we actually, I think they're still up here. Yeah, some of the setups that we've taken before in the past, and this, a lot of what I'm seeing at the moment, there's a couple that look decent, but they still haven't fired. We don't have a trigger yet. So, all right. Anyway, if you have anything you would like for me to take a look at, go ahead and drop that request right now. With IWM, again, 3 rejections overhead, so it's not a question of where we go up on an hourly candle close, anywhere up towards there. We have a gap that we're heading towards right now at 262.28. I think price actually closed around 262.80. But of course, that will and most likely bring a retest of 261. And because of the little uptrend that we have here, obviously 259.87. Things 24-hour breaks, right? Or excuse me, a 1 hour break of 259.85, and we're looking down below at 257 with runners, of course, in this situation with the gap down below all the way to 255. But again, we're in this is where, again, if somebody new shows up, they're like, well, what's your bias? And I don't need to have one. I think it's foolish sometimes to have one, because there are situations where you're in between two triggers, in between where we go long or where we go short. And that's where I set down the line and say, yeah, I ain't trading in here. This is not for me unless I am able to catch a bounce, or we dump really, really fast and I'm able to bounce it or get it outside of 261. These are all things that we could, potentially take advantage of, but they haven't happened yet. So we're in a read and react. So to validate your trade with the strategy, it has to go outside of the box. Yes. So like the box represents tension, and that tension needs to break, and there needs to be a lack of resistance on whatever side that I'm looking to take it on. I mean, if it's simplified, that is literally what I'm doing 9 times out of 10 is I'm looking to take something out of consolidation. The consolidation makes the contracts cheaper through Max Payne, and I'm looking at the empty space and lack of resistance and the first target up ahead of me. The swirly part, yes. This is not, yeah, I would never, why, yeah. There are areas like this, that I just do not participate, like this, right? The break is coming. And that's something that I think some people fear happens without them. And I mean, it's a rational fear, but, being prepared, obviously, that's what we're doing right now, is key. This is a very similar, price action, a lot of up, a lot of down, a lot of building. And what I know, right, is that the break is coming. The move will happen soon. So what am I worried about? I just need to be on the right side. I need to be reacting. And what does being inside of this box have to do with anything? 3 rejections at the top is the most that we can call out of this. And yes, yesterday we talked about the potential of driving down, but has that happened yet? Did we gap down? No, we didn't. So nothing has happened that needs to happen. Damn, there's that 260 right there. So yeah, I don't have, and I'm not going to participate in any of this. So, all right, moving on. If you have anything you want me to take a look at, let's go ahead and do that now. Upstart, and again, good setups, empty space, consolidation. That's what I'm looking for. All right, so you were able to grab hold of a floor. However, this morning, it looks like that channel, well, we'll go ahead and actually leave that alone. So I actually don't see what you're wicking off of on the higher time frame, but I do see it on the lower time frame. So 2 hour. Okay. So you are officially, and we could go to the hourly here to make this even clearer. This is going to be the range that stops you. This is going to be the range that holds you. Okay. So right now it's a 3150 underneath you and above you, right? You've already tapped the wick, but the candle closes are at 3288 and over 3382. I think you turn the tides to potentially go up into that empty space of 3762. So another read and react scenario, but has not triggered yet. You are in between two ranges. It seems the highest probability would be a 3147 retest. So if there are dry periods without finding a trade, can it sustain as a full time? Yes. 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 Oh my god, yes. There are rich motherfuckers that I met, and I don't talk to them. I don't talk to anybody hardly, but I here and there I speak to them, but I in the past, um, Manny and me had a lot of contact with these individuals, and some of these people show up once a month for a week because they see the opportunity that they're looking for. So I mean, you need to be in the right place at the right time with the right amount of risk. And we have I everybody damn near that's inside of this Discord who's been in here for an extended amount of time, you've seen, hold on one second. I gotta evict my cat. Holy, yeah, exactly.
No, Toothless.
No.
No.
Yeah, well, you can't sit there and do that in my office, Chief. Come here. Eviction. Eviction, dude. You've been evicted. No 30-day notice. All right. Motherfucking cat behind my desk or behind my screen just scratching. Goes, tick, tick, tick. Lord have mercy. Anyway, those cats don't want you making money. You know, you think they'd want me to. All right. So moving on. Upstart. But going back to what I was saying really quickly, I've had trades where the remaining runners were worth 400 per, or which on the original investment would have only cost me $400. That position was worth close to 4,000 or 4,500. And these were just my runners, small position, free trade, and it's these big leaps forward where I'm running past. I mean, if yeah, I'm not gonna get too deep into numbers, but like if I catch one of these empty space trades, and based on the 24-hour time frame, and the risk to reward is correct. I mean, I'm taking a big leap forward. And that makes me not want to participate. The more I do that, the less I really, and this is just maybe a personal thing, but the less I want to participate in the small stuff. The less I want to risk my money in windows that are going or don't have the same clarity as the 24-hour time frame. I mean it when I say like right now, basically inside of this weekly range on IWM and on SPY, the risk is low until we get and again, if you look at the weekly, we are in weekly ranges. You're in a box. When is the hardest time to trade? In a box. When is the most tension created? In a box. How is tension created? By hitting people in the dick, by stop lossing everybody, by up and down. Price action doesn't pick a direction. Everybody loses. And I have seen also from a teacher's perspective, people's P&L. The market moves up. It comes out of that consolidation. Their accounts go up. Plays are working out, but then they don't stop. But the market does. The market stops and they don't. So what the fuck? I mean, at that point, if you're seeing your P&L and the market movement coincide, you have one simple solution. You don't trade in boxes. And there are a few people, right? I can't make over encompassing statements. There might be a few people who thrive in boxes because it's a set resistance and support. I don't. And I don't think it's worth my time and energy. So, all right. Is it true that lacking risk management is people's biggest downfall? Yes. One of them. Over trading is a part of that, though. All right, BA weekly, 24-hour time frame, not the weekly. So, I mean, man, if this thing doesn't look like it wants to force it, I mean, it really, every single time you got pushed back. So, this is where you do create a lot of overhead. I mean, it just takes a candle pushing, closing outside of that 264.15. You do not have a traditional box directly up above you. You only have the ghost of one. Which can still be utilized, right? But that is going to be 248. The 50% mark, which is not a trigger, will be 251. And that would be one of the most important places for me. I mean, because this is a considerable amount of effort to keep price up in the face of 246, which inevitably, if you keep doing this, you are going to push sellers out of the way and you more than likely will see an upside move. Now, there is a downside channel that's operating right here. And that's one of the reasons that you keep banging up against this. So yeah, I would trust again, a break and stop loss set at 246 for a first target of 251. We also are knowledgeable that on the 24-hour that there is empty space and is a box all the way here. We did reach that before, so that empty space has been filled with, hold on, empty space, right? So it shouldn't be, once you get above that 253.71, difficult to fill that wick. But you would have, I mean, already touched resistance. So I mean, at the same time, if you are unable, right? If you are unable to get over this high and you do sink your low, which has not happened and you're not even close to doing it, but if that did occur, obviously this trade would clearly not be an upside trade. I mean, I don't need to tell you that. But that's what needs to happen. So, I mean, an interesting setup, a lot of tension here, for sure. Did I have to lose a lot before you win? Did that happen to you? I lost, I rounded to $80,000. I think it was like $84,000 or something like that. I lost like basically $80,000. A, taking signals. B, figuring out that what I was learning was bullshit. C, doing it on my own. And then I went through probably the most painful process where I found out that swing trading worked for me, but still had it in my mind that I wanted to day trade. And so I would build accounts. I mean, seriously, I have a record of this, but I would take an account from 500, 200, $80, and I would run it up to like 9, 10K. And at 10K, I decided I wanted to day trade, and I would blow my fucking account within days of what I worked a month to or more to get. And so this obviously sent me into a fucking spiral. I knew that I had discovered something, but I kept running into the same wall. And after 84 or $80,000, I basically quit for a couple of months until I had the epiphany that if I was able to take such a small amount of money and turn it into 10K strictly swing trading, that I would try it one more time, but this time I would pull the money out and start over again instead of letting the market do that for me. And that turned the tides for me. I was able to start stacking money up on the side. Um, I actually hit a pretty, I wouldn't even say a pretty large, but massive play shortly thereafter, which netted me about $52,000, which was also like, damn, I was glad I didn't quit. But it also gave me a huge boost of liquidity, so that way I could start exploring more options, start practicing day trading as, again, I got some liquidity underneath me. So, how are you able to trade cash account? Cash account. All right. PLTR 24-hour time frame. What are we looking at on this one? It's not bad. Good gap up on the floor, right? This is actually is that, am I looking at that correctly? Yeah. So this is a good example. I'll teach you guys this in the workshop. If you gap up on a floor, right, that you've previously rejected, that is an immediate upside move, right? It's actually one of my favorite setups in the morning, if it hasn't already moved, is to see price above whatever was holding it back. Now, with that being said, on the 24-hour, I still see pockets of empty space. But one thing I also see is this overhead resistance at 140, which is psychological, which of course is going to have an impact. So here's what we're going to do. You're going to take this range and you're going to give it a box. Is it a box, a Potter box? No, but it is a range, and ranges still contain all of the same elements as a Potter box. The only thing is the volume is typically always not strong enough to drive price forward, and so it's only a break over 140 that would give you a pretty decent play. I mean, there's a really good play here, because just a couple things need to happen. They haven't happened yet, but if you're over that 240 and in this empty space specifically where there's a lack of resistance, you can start eyeballing a much larger trade in here, right? All the way up to like 154. So do we have to lose a lot too? Is that just setup that has to happen to learn? No, you do not. If you don't listen, to people who have know better, if you don't come into this trying to prioritize learning a strategy over making money, because the strategy is how I make money. You can want money, but it doesn't bring it to you. I mean, everybody wants money, like I've said before, but you don't have to lose $80,000. You don't have to lose. I mean, there is an element. You need to know what it's like to lose. You're going to lose. Like if you're somebody who can't take a loss, if you fight your friends after you lose on Super Smash Bros, like, yeah, you're probably going to have an issue with this. Um, but if again, in those situations, we're using light risk. You're acknowledging that you're in the middle of your learning process, and of course you can manage those things. You're not using your whole risk. You didn't put your whole account in there, so you're gonna learn what it feels like to not be right. I mean, that is, you're guaranteed, and that's what makes this craft so difficult for people, is accepting that what they're doing is not working, and a lot of people can't accept it when they know it's going to happen, and before they've lost money, people will get stopped out or have triggers hit and they'll hold. A lot of people will find excuses like, "Oh, well, I have a good expiration." That has nothing to do with your stop loss. If you set out and you set a stop loss, and then when that thing is hit, you're talking about whether your expiration is long enough. You already lost the plot. Got to put your emotions aside when trading. I think you just need to watch them. I'm not an emotionless robot when I'm trading. I still feel it all. I just have enough knowledge, and I want to say wisdom, but like I have enough skill and wisdom in this specifically, uh, to I guess, be aware of those emotions as they come up and know where they're derived from. Oh, we're ripping fast. Well, what's above and what's below? So I have a plan for every emotion I feel, which is again derived from the chart or something that is happening. I have I jump right into problem solving mode because typically an emotion is like something that you feel you might not be prepared for, like, it's fear, this could happen. And so instead of allowing those make believe variables affect what I'm doing, I look at the chart and I focus on what's in front of me. My system allows for me to do that. Okay, we're pulling back fast. What floor did we reclaim? If we reclaim the floor, we're going to bounce. Even if it's momentary, we're going to bounce. All right. A good trader makes money. A great trader knows how to not lose money. Yeah. Knows how to preserve capital. All right. What else do we have here? Anything else? If you touch me, I just think I'm screaming. Shamazon? Shamazon? I know what you're talking about. Weak ass candle. I mean, weak ass candle, right? Um, Not quite 50%, but let's go to the 4 hour. Okay. So already, and this is not a clear box, right? We can rest assured that's what it's not. We could also focus here because that is the catalyst, that is the trigger to take Amazon potentially into this empty space up above you. Couple of key notes here. That's what you reclaimed. That's why you built a box in order to do it. You needed the volume to fill that. You are now up against this red candle, an overhead resistance of 204.89. Over that high, if you get the break, which right now you've already pulled back to possibly address that gap first, but the overhead high would be 207. That would have to be reclaimed. And again, we move down into a little bit of a lower time frame. The box changes and becomes like this. And so right now it would be a 2 hour candle close up against outside of 208.50 to get you up and out of there. Um, we don't have any higher highs or higher lows on this setup. It's just a flat box. So again, a lot of me typically suspects that if anything, you're in a much larger area of consolidation where price could oscillate in here. Do I have a degree and when did I start at trading? Uh, no, I do not have a degree. I did go to college, but nothing that you are going to learn in college is going to teach you how to do this. So that had really little to do with it. But I've been trading now for cumulatively probably like 8 years, 7, 8 years. I had interest in Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies, but didn't chart them or trade them. I was using them. But that being said, yeah, that's I don't feel. Listen, not to point anybody out, but we have garbage men, people who trash sanitation experts. Who he sent me his 1099 and he's up. So I really don't think you have to find the version of this that works for you. Some people do not have the fortitude or mental fortitude to manage day trading, and that's okay. Um, you can be somebody, and in fact, there's people in here who options just don't work for them. Like the holding on to an asset like that creates too much emotion in them. You can buy equity. You can use this system to just buy and sell equity long term. And there's people who have found that out. I don't know exactly what makes them that way. There's probably some past in there, but The same thing with people with shorter expiration options. A lot of people who figure out that that's not for them. And it's only longer expiration options that allow them the peace of mind to actually manage their position. All right. No, the March class is not filled up. Arm, Apple call or nah. Well, let's see. Okay, so ARM has this massive overhead floor here that you failed to grab onto. You did not gap up above it, so you do not have that edge. But yes, if we can get a candle close moving inside of this box, the first target, which fuck, that is the first green candle. One of the rules that we have is typically the first green candle to your left. I mean, and I don't say usually, it's always that is the rule. That is always what's going to get hit. That is one of the best targets inside of a area where you have nothing but red. That green candle will serve as a great target. So what we can say is that yes, step one is going to be reclaiming the 131.25 floor. Second step will be breaking over 134. And at that point, I would actually address this like this. That's my catalyst. Why? Because if I break out over the top of this box, punching through 140.90, I automatically get the break over this overhead, and I'm looking at the 146.64. Are we far away from that? Yes, but obviously if the market cooperates, we can see that move. QQQQ up. Now this is, yes, a potential no-brainer trade. One of the levels that we, again, are going to have to be aware of is that 606.40. However, if you are looking, and we're almost done filling that gap here, but if you are looking overhead, this is, again, a heavy area of resistance, but it is over 605.50 and a break of 606.50. And at that point, we have the only turbulence I see is at 607.75, but it should be a straight shot up to 610 if we break. And that's the only way that this trade makes sense to me, is if I'm taking it from point A to point B. So point A to point B. That's the only way that that trade makes sense to me. Downside, of course, if we do flush that 599.91, expect to pull back to 596 right here. All right. Yesterday I said the three rejections overhead, if they follow through, yes, but we have not seen that follow through. So uranium fever. All right. What do we got here? What else do we have? DK and G up. Well, well, well. Well, well, well. That's 3 wells. That's a lot of water.
Oh, not again.
The system prevails. So yesterday I gave you a 23.35 target on the channel to the upside because the empty space was massive. And obviously this is a stock that lacks proper liquidity without a catalyst. That was one of the things that we wanted to be aware of. Now, the fact that you're gapping up to that, yes, I am speaking. If I sign up, is there any recommendation is there any recommended study so I don't have so many questions, like best to look at YouTube? Well, that's where you're wrong, brother. I want your questions. I want the stupid questions. I want whatever questions, as long as it has to do with trading. Don't get me started on something else. But like, if you have questions, I don't care how stupid they are. You need that information. I don't care. Like sometimes I used to hate this about some of my teachers. It was like I was just a couple of thoughts or explanations away from having something click. Like, dude, I struggled really hard with algebra. I had a shit math teacher. And then I had one math teacher who allowed me to ask like kind of, dumb questions, but like these things were like holding me up from really understanding. And in other classes I had just given up. So I want the stupid questions. Now, if you want to study beforehand, if you get the workshop, you have access to all of the previous workshops that I recorded, and you'll have access to this one once it's done recording as well. So, um, and I'm not saying that as like a marketing thing. Like your stupid questions, if you want to call it that, are somebody else's stupid question. Somebody else has that same question and they're too scared to ask. And first of all, if anybody, this is just a message to anybody. If anybody ever like sh- is a dick to you because you asked a simple question, don't talk to them. I'm sorry, and I know that there might even be people close with me that disagree. But if you're a dick to somebody because they don't understand something, like shut up. You're not a good teacher. You need to pipe down. It's just that simple. All right. Anyway, so yeah, DKNG is going to need to break over 2335 and break through this channel. However, if you drop back in, I would expect typical channel behavior, right? And that would be a reversal back down to that 2150. So the goal here today, because you are outside of that range, and don't get scared just because this is rejected. If you can push past that, you have a $23.90, $24 target. If you're looking at all of that empty space, KN, and you say, I don't know about we, because I don't think I'm going to trade this. I don't, DK and G, we don't mix. But yes, you would need that type of expiration to deal with this sort of setup for sure. Here's a dumb one with liquidity equal volume in your statement about not having enough. Yeah. Yeah, it just doesn't have. So let me explain it this way. If the stock that I'm looking at only moves when it has news or some sector wide, you know, something, a catalyst, then it doesn't have proper daily trading volume, which means you're going to struggle to make the moves that other stocks will move easily because they have daily trading volume. And they're the names that you're familiar with. They don't always move. They take their time and they consolidate just like every other stock. But when they get towards that break in tension, they don't need a catalyst to go. They just do what they're supposed to do. Those are the stocks I gravitate around. Now, there are some stocks that do not move, right, without a catalyst. And what would those stocks be that I focus on? Earnings. If a stock only moves on earnings, that could be free money. There are stocks that do not move without earnings, and their contracts are relatively cheap, and you could straight up buy both sides, and they just move on earnings. So, anyway.
Like A&M.
Shannon, on a particular stock or just in general? Consolidation is just this, just any time where price does not pick a direction. That's consolidation, that's consolidation, that's consolidation, that's consolidation, that's consolidation. But that's expansion, and that's expansion, and that's expansion. So, all right. It is 9:22. Everybody needs to have an idea of what they're trading today. Otherwise, this is one of those things where, and I said this a couple of weeks ago, and we had it happen. I'm letting the trade fall into my lap. If it's clear, if it's a great setup, and we have triggers above and below on all the ETFs, there's a couple of individual equities that are looking pretty good. But all in all, I'm just being honest with you guys. These are the days where my risk is low and I am waiting. I am waiting. It is not, again, there are not a lot of setups that mirror the setups that we have successfully traded in through their empty space out of consolidation or through a punchback. So, not saying that they don't exist, and you might be looking at one right now that looks great. But out of the big ones, every time we're given the opportunity to go up, sellers step up and they hold us down. And that sentiment has not changed. I still yes, feel bearish. So it is more difficult for me to see the upside as a viable option to make money when those opportunities are short. So if you are, again, somebody who can day trade and you're looking at this empty space up above or into here, right? That's something that we're not even close to triggering yet. For sure, you can have that in the back of your mind, but there are a few things that have to happen. And if this again, two rejections off the top, this is typically where we start to see volatility potentially pick up. So, now, real quick, Shannon, stop loss. Every single time that I take a trade, right, and this is done in pre-market as well, I have I have to find structure, right? One of the reasons I couldn't take PayPal yesterday is because it left where I was going to set my stop loss, right? Let me show you what that looked like. So yesterday and this weekend, I talked about wanting to take PayPal to the upside through this punchback, right? And I was unable to do this off the first rip, which honestly, it did give me a second opportunity. I was at my daughter's school. Can't get back, chalk it up to the game. Um, but I couldn't set a stop loss because it had already left and it was inside of this empty space. Great setup, great trade, great move, all the way to the target, all the way to the 50% mark of this range right here. Now, the top, right? So you have a couple of areas that are suitable areas for stop losses. The top of these green candles, and of course, the top of these red candles. When price retraces, right, and retest, where does it retest? Structure. So when we position ourselves, right, and this does take practice. So if you're going into your trades, you've lowered your risk and you're saying, I am practicing my entries. For the next 2 weeks, I am practicing entries. That means, yeah, I'm buying a contract just to practice the entry on a decent little setup. Now, the lower the time frame, the faster price moves, making it harder for you, right, to get in and out, which is why the more experience you have, the easier that becomes. All right. Now, that's why I tell people who are newer, you kind of want to focus on the slower moving stuff, that overnight swings or swing setups, because those are going to, again, lower your risk, but also allow you to catch the bigger move, and a lot of the times avoid the retest. But it is the top of this structure, or structure in general, that's nearest to my left, whether it's a box, whatnot. Um, that I'm generally setting my stop loss on. So even if it's something like this, right? If price falls down underneath it, I know that it would continue falling down. So, and that's a late entry. But typically, and I would say always, my entry is always coming out of structure, and I'm trying to set my stop loss on top or even sometimes inside of that box. If it's a lot of the times I'll take a trade as the floor is being recovered, and one of the ways that I'll like, when I see shit like this, and this is not a great example, but I've talked about this death candle for sellers, right? A death candle, and again, I'm just making up a fucking term. Everybody else does it. You can call it whatever you want. We'll, yeah, whatever you want. But these candles, right? It's just what it implies. If you give sellers a moment of what they want, they all rush in. You'll see volume, if you watched it, spike. When that candle pulls itself back up to the floor where buyers control the price, you fucked up a lot of people, right? And I think somebody pointed this out on the cues yesterday. We saw that wick down and then pop right back up. And those are those type of candles where I have the opportunity to, and again, this isn't the greatest example because it's fucking PayPal, but that's where I have the opportunity to use the box itself as a stop loss, because I'm telling you what, when that again, envisioning this candle green, when that low is swept and then price retraces back up, that's your price has to go find something to reject that's way up above it for that to happen. And especially as that candle nears its close, if you've fallen and then reclaimed and bounced off of something, I'm going to use that box and what's inside of it to take that trade, cost basis included. All right. 1 minute to the bell. Again, if you guys have anything you need me to take a look at or you're curious about, Um, I am watching a few things. Microsoft. You still like? I do like Microsoft. It just we're so far away from that trigger, my guy. It's best to again. We need to see things like this reclaimed, pushed over. It's $400 psychological. You got a gap to fill now to the downside. So
Hey Potter, is it fine if you could take a look at AMSC?
yeah, 1 second. Okay, so you just push down through this range. You can see that candle close right there. Lower time frame shit. 5 seconds. Watch for a bounce off of this floor here at 36.91. I'll take a second look at it. Can I trade futures with $500? Is it possible to make a partial trade instead of buying a full unit? I mean, again, if I had that, if I was in that scenario, I'm going with options. I have the most the yeah, options are going to be the first thing that I focus on. With $500, I would have a watch list with about 3 to 4 stocks that have option contracts that are under 25 to $30. IWM would be very much heavily included in that, and I'd be looking for only 24-hour and weekly breaks of range. Which again, it's a tough pill to swallow for new people because they want to show up every day and they want to learn and they want to make money. But the reality is, less can in is more. When you wait for the higher time frame breaks, there's actually more room for mistakes. There's more room for there's a margin for error. Because a lot of the times, if you're catching something on the right side of a weekly or 24-hour break, you are actually catching the bigger move, the much larger move, extended sometimes 3-day move. So you can make a mistake and still catch a W. And it's important to be on the right side of that trade when you have a small account. And again, one of the biggest mistakes I see is a lot of newer traders, they immediately rush in to try to, just start trading. And then that ends up being that their actions actually end up being the reason why winning is so hard for them later on, because yeah, I mean, it's yeah. What am I waiting on for the cues? Something to leave to leave this box, my brother. To get the hell out of the box. It's just yeah, that simple. I don't trade in boxes. I love boxes, but I don't like trading in them. I need you to get out of my box. Well, maybe you shouldn't have left your box open, buddy. If you see anything moving or want me to take a look at anything, if you're inside of the Discord, let me know. Please move over to live trading chat though, so we can go focus on there. ELTR with a sharp drop. Again, everything is moving pretty quickly. In order for us to continue moving, right, we have to find no response. There's a gap right here at 600. But just like the upside, right? Just like the upside, and that looks terrible, but you have to have a continuation move under something that you can hold on to. Otherwise, you're just going to bounce. When starting out, what prop firm would you recommend? Gabrielle, are you good at a strategy? Do you have a strategy that you use that you feel that you are proficient in? That would be my first question. Because if you don't, oh, you do? Okay, then I mean, Top Step is probably going to be the first one. I'm not a futures trader. I don't use prop firms, but yeah, I would say the majority of the people that are getting payouts inside of my Discord are using Top Step. Personally, if they had a different recommendation, they could mention that. But GLW passed my target from yesterday. Am I hungry? No. Mm-mm. I'm eating candles this morning, Peyton. I just want the fucking market to get out. You know what I mean, Peyton? I get out? Okay. We'll trade in Spain. UNH, actually, UNH does look good. I got an alert set. I thought I had an alert set on that one, but yeah, UNH over the wicks of two, but it's not there yet. Yeah, that does look good. IWM calls. I mean, if you want to take it before it breaks, that's on you. But 264.35. I'm chilling. I feel so chill right now. I don't know how to. I just know I'm not gonna fuck with this. I'm not gonna get caught. I know where bad trades happen in boxes, in range. I like the rejection overhead. This is great because this either sets us up for a clear reversal and a great stop loss, or if we end up sinking the lows and candle closing underneath 599, we could be looking at a third and new low of 590, which is a gap. How do I get the Discord? Dirty Max, how long have you been watching me, bro? If this is, yeah, how long have you been watching me? Yeah, I did have my music on, but I don't know. It keeps turning off because I think my son is at school hijacking my music, which I'm not bad at. Me and him actually have the same music taste now, and it's the coolest thing in the world, man. He'll like come in my room and be like, "Dad, I just watched that guitarist from Radiohead, and he made his guitar sound like a dolphin, like you said." And I'm like, "Hell yeah, brother!" Remind me one day to show you guys that, just so you don't think that I'm making it up. This guy really knows how to make his guitar sound like a dolphin. See, like what's happening right now that I'm gonna change my life off of? I don't really think anything. I tell you what, I mean, there's if you sink down here, bounce and send it, that's a great setup. I'll take it. How are we falling right now on the lower time frames? Fast? 5 minute? Okay. So I mean, as far as reversals are concerned, you could go ahead and just count that out, right? Until these are all that's empty. But now we've just dropped. Very good. Again, boxes. CRWV just set an alert off. Oh shit. Ooh, fuck. Oh damn. All right, don't get crazy, but CRWV is approaching that 8711 level. Again, this is not something I suspect will happen. You know, it could happen intraday, but below that level, there's a first target underneath you at 8450. We talked about this one yesterday. My son asked for a vintage setup in his room. I assumed vinyl. He wanted a CD player. That's fucking crazy, actually. Top Step is the best. Never had a problem getting a payout from them. That's awesome. Good. Nah. Nah. Yeah, CD player. What
Hey
is it?
Potter,
Yeah, what's up, boss?
uh, overnight high on the Qs were like 605,
Mm-hmm.
50 or 605.
605, 80, something like that.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a good bounce. Pushing right up into that high right there of 602. You got that small pocket right here that'll likely fill up if you shove your way through that. Again, is that something that we want to trade? Is it worth it? What does it lead to? By the way, if you're on TikTok, be sure to tap your screen.
Thank you.
Yeah, dude. This is where I have learned, man. I don't touch this shit. And right now, you tell me, I know there's a couple people who are scalpers inside of the Discord, and they catch shit like this, and that can be a distraction. You got to be able to deal with that. I've told people this 100 times. Being inside of a Discord can be and will be a double-edged sword, especially when you hit your stride. That's why I tell people, go on your spirit journey. Go out and try to do it on your own. That's what this whole thing is about. But eventually, right, you're going to refine what you are looking for, and you're going to, I guess, if you will, build a tolerance to the influence of others. But I mean, again, if you have got a good head on your shoulders, you'll understand this. If you go if you're coming into this space, there's 1,000, a bunch of different people doing a bunch of different things. We're all using the same strategy, which is the number one thing here. And most of us are all looking for the same thing, but there are people who are scalping. They do have more money in their accounts, and these things can be, for some people motivating, for other people a little bit, like, damn, I'm far behind. Yeah. Am I on the minutes or seconds? My chart doesn't look like that. I'm on the 5 minute. If you don't, yeah, your chart doesn't, if you do not have the, look, ma, no hands, yeah. If you don't have the 24-hour data with ARCA NYSE data, then you're not going to see the chart the same way that I do. Chase Chimes age 10, get the fuck, Chase Chimes age 10K instant, what the fuck, that's a scam. Local for my freedom. Wait, somebody became a super fan? How do I have that? Can people become super fans? You come from Kid Rich. I can't sing this whole song. 603 target 603.60 if you go for that break. But boy, I love not being. Honestly, I sit here and I'm just like, dude, I know motherfuckers are getting shredded right now. Shredded. But you know what they're doing? They're creating the tension and liquidity that I need to take a trade. I love it. Fast for Ramadan. I don't think I can afford to lose any
Once
more weight,
again,
my guy.
IWM doesn't give a damn.
Yeah, IWM doesn't. Hey, Ivy, you know what? IWM, yes, is giving a second entry. You are at 264.89. Again, the overhead target was 266. 14. I have a couple of calls that I took yesterday to hedge the rejection that I took, but you don't have to be a Muslim to fast. Fasting will prevent you from over trading. Shit, for some people, they got better try anything. Artificial baby, all right, fooled by the filters on the angles. Maybe I will fast for Ramadan. So day traders, scalpers, right there, right? You want to maintain that candle hold. Look how it reacted to that first green candle to your left, though. Stuttered. This is why it's so difficult, right? You see how many times, like, take a look at this on the 3. Actually, look at this on the 1. Motherfuckers are trying to trade this right now. Now, if you caught an entry outside of that little box, you're about to fill that empty space up, right? And that's where this floor is going to come in handy. But just FYI. Remember, zoom out. Where are you? This is what we're looking at right now, folks. Bounce. Candle looks good, but this is what we want. So if you're front running that, have a great stop loss. Use great risk. Sunrise to sunset is just 12 hours. When does that start? I love Primal Hunger. I know that might be a confusing statement, but I do. Like, I love when you're so, like, when you're mad hungry and you, like, feast until you, like, you forget to breathe. I love losing myself in those moments, you know? It's beautiful. Like, when you're
Hey,
drunk, you come
partner.
home from the bars and you eat. Yeah, what's up, brother?
Oh, my bad, bro.
Dude, I'm not doing anything right now because I'm not trading anything right now. So interrupt me in my dumb stories, please.
Okay, no worries. I had a question for when you said AMSC was gonna bounce on the 3691 target. How did you know that was gonna happen?
Did it happen?
Yeah.
That is the bottom of a 24-hour candle. That is the bottom of the candle.
Oh,
So if you had to remember, we're rock climbers. So if you slip,
yeah.
right, that's where you're gonna
Uh-huh.
fall. You're gonna fall down to whatever foothold, and that probably translates really well to the lower time frame. Look, watch this. The
Mhm.
first box that you have, first
Right.
thing you bounce off.
Okay.
So you just didn't have a very good foothold this morning. And obviously with this stock, you know, there's a lot of up and downs. The good thing about it is it does create empty space. IWM is reaching now. Back to the cues here. To where we go now. Don't call me no more. Yeah, IWM is moving. 265.50 and 266 are the only targets that I have there. I know, I can only show you one side of my screen. If you want to see both of them, you can go to YT. And I want those of you who are new, who are kind of like feeling a little antsy right now, or you kind of like the feeling should be right underneath your stomach. Like at whatever holds your stomach up, you should the nerves are right there. So if you feel that feeling, right, it's okay. And it's normal. But you got to be able to watch and identify why, right? Oh, I'm watching fast candles on the 3 minute. What is that doing to me, right? What am I actually looking at? Zoom out. Oh, I'm looking for a break over 605.65 or 606 or 605.65 for a break up into this, right? And in order for that to happen, I need to at least see this structure that we're rejecting right now or fighting for right now. I need to see it reclaimed. So this is a great practice in being self-aware. Like you don't have to react to every emotion that you feel or act on it. Are you fearful? Do you have a lack of knowledge? Well, those two things are closely associated to one another. The less you know, the more, what is that? There's a, the less you know, the more fear that you'll fear. It actually goes two ways. You got people who know less and then they're overconfident, and then people who don't have enough information and then in situations where they need it, they're fearful. Yeah. I don't have okay, so we just tapped on IWM 265.40. Again, all I have is those contracts that I swung yesterday. I have not entered any trade at all. No trade from Poppy. Look at hands off, no trade, no touch, and nothing has happened. How did I identify that? For those of you guys who are new, we open up in range where the most difficult trading conditions occur. So if you want your life to be a little easier, it's tough and it's great emotional training, but you got to wait. Pulse check those. Everybody staying safe here. TikTok, YouTube. Thank you for the gifts, dude. Once you fast, your money will double. All right. I'm gonna start fasting. I didn't get a fair shot, so I'm gonna start tomorrow. Knowing when to trade. Yeah, I used to chase those fast candles so bad and kept getting burned. Now I'm more patient. If I'm not confident, I hold off, rather miss a day or two if needed. Even today on the Qs, I probably would have bought and sold 5 times. Nemo. I mean, that was almost hot. That was like a pickup line to me, dude. That's what I want to hear, baby. Chasing is a trap, brother.
Throw a poppy at the end of that, it's over.
Huh? I can't fast. I'll die without coffee. If you have a coffee drip, does that count? I'm gonna start tomorrow. What if you injected like grapes with coffee? Can't you like eat grapes during Ramadan, or is it like no food at all, no water? And
Intermittent fasting allows black coffee.
I've been doing intermittent fasting since forever. Not on purpose. It was an anxiety thing. I just in the morning I think about nothing during Ramadan. Okay. No food, no water. But you, as soon as the sun comes up, you can't. That's when the cutoff is. What if you're mid bite and the sun is like cracking over? You spit it out.
Hey, Potter.
APP looks interesting.
You said PPP. What's up, brother?
APP.
APP. Okay, I'll take a look at that. Oh shit! Well, god damn it. Chad just wanted to brag. No, I'm just kidding. Are you in this one? That does look fucking. Damn, that is actually.
No, I'm not.
Fuck.
My alert just went off.
Fuck, that was a good setup. I don't know if I can take it yet, though. The only thing, yeah, I don't know if I can take this where you're right up against the high.
It might retest, yeah.
Yeah, if I can get a retest on this one, maybe. But I mean, you just shot through, pushed out so many sellers. So if I get in, I'd have to get in right now and set a 391.26 stop loss. Probably add a week to whatever expiration because of the late entry, and then 406, 407 would be the target. But that was actually okay. I did have an alert set, and it didn't go off at 382.65, which is where I wanted to take that trigger pop. Well, fucking chalk it up to the game. Fuck off. Damn.
Hey, Potter. Good morning.
Good morning, brother.
Just a quick question. I don't know if this is the right time, maybe in class when we do this, but I'm struggling to find good contracts, right? Like, what's the science behind finding right contracts? Whether, I do understand it, like, it has a lot to do with, where price is in the box, and then if you want to give it time, earnings, all of that. But just any advice on how to get better at picking contracts, like maybe
You talking about cost wise,
suggestions?
like trying to find cheaper contracts?
Yeah, like, when I see things in gains, right, I see things like, people picking up contracts at like $12, and then that turns out to be like, $3,000, 3,000% increase.
Yeah.
So I know it's possible. It's just that I feel there's something lacking in me in terms of learning.
Okay.
Right. And it's not about the Potter box, but it's more like just in terms of like Greeks or something like that I don't know,
No, let me
that
ask you.
I'm struggling with.
Okay, so let me ask you a question though. Are you taking mostly weekly contracts when you're taking a trade?
So I'm not finished the workshops. I'm still like at the sixth, class of it. So I'm not So I'm not taking active contracts yet. I'm
Okay.
not doing like 4 contracts or anything like that. I've been doing shares, and I've been doing fine with shares. But and just to like understand the movement of price, so just buying shares when I can, and then I see it move, and then sell. But I do buy like one contract, just to get the feeling of what's happening, and then if I get stopped out, I get stopped out. Um,
Okay.
but I'm not feeling confident about buying the stock. I mean, buying the contract, right? So that's where I'm trying to
Okay.
fill that gap in terms of getting better at picking the right contracts.
Okay. So, and I might have gone over this, and if I have, then we'll go into a deeper explanation, maybe outside of trading hours, so I can dedicate. But the first and I'll just use the cues as an example, right? In order, like right now, nobody is buying. Hardly anybody is going to be buying 610s, right? That's because it is so far out of the money. Generally, a high volume stock or a stock that moves, well, you're gonna see price uh or volume rather fill up contracts 3 to 4 steps out of the money, and then there's a drop. And I live in that drop. Like I'm looking outside of what is expected. And that is obviously fueled and generated by what we perceive to be as empty space. Now, right now, right, if I was to take QQQQ, I would have to have a couple of days, if not a week, to catch all of this, right, without confirmation. But when the confirmation does come, which as I speak, this thing is starting to shoot into that thing. Hold on 1 second. Might have to break off here. IWM did go and hit that second target, third target, still 266.10. But breaking into empty space, and I might have to interrupt myself here in just a moment here. If these cues do break up out of this channel or out of this box, so forgive me if I stutter a little bit. But the first and most a straightforward explanation is we are always looking for contracts that have been decimated or destroyed by a lack of conviction in its movement, or it is chopping. And at that point, we are looking typically towards the first green candles to our left on a semi higher time frame. Wherever that setup is identified. This setup is identified as far out as a 30-minute, and both of those targets will be at 610 and at 608. Period. End of story. So for a weekly contract, 608s would be the first and most logical target, which right now 608s are $41, right? Now we haven't broken yet. We don't have confirmation, but above 605.80, that would be the first target. And you could, or you should, right? That is where weekly contracts or contracts that even possibly expire today or tomorrow will come into play. And that's, again, on IWM, same phenomenon that we're taking advantage of there. That was absolutely wild what I just did there. Hold on 1 second. Multitasking here. Weekly's contracts that expire this week. All right. During that entire moment, you were given 2 separate opportunities to set a stop loss and enter this trade. We obviously broke through this box right as I was just speaking, and we just filled up this empty space. We should be expecting a small rejection off of this high, potentially. But this is the last step, aside from this overhead high, to stop us.
That's what I'm talking about. What's that overhead high? Another one you got?
606.40.
I'm not around.
606.40.
206. 606.40.
Yeah, and then the first wick resistance again. If we get this break, and yeah, if we get this break, it's going to be over 605.75, and then the first target would be 607.75 on the 5 minute. On the higher time frame, it's 608. Tomato. In the most recent price action, the first green candle's at 608.38. So obviously, this is a big moment here. We're going to see if QQQ has the juice, right? Pull back, retest, and now pushing a candle here. 30 minutes has 23 seconds left to close this candle here. It could and most likely would have a retest at 604 if it does not have the volume to get what it needs to get done now. I'm going to go to the 3 minute because of the empty space and lack of structure, and I'm going to figure this out. Okay, cost basis on the 1 minute. Yeah, that's a real thing. That was a floor. That's 604.50. So if you're unable to hold 605.09, you'll retrace back down to the wick and the body.
So but overall, you are bearish on Qs, right? You do have a few contracts that you are expecting it to get to 595. So currently, when Qs are doing well and are going up bullish, what's happening to those other contracts of yours that are runners, right? That you're expecting that 595 to fit. Are you managing those? Like, so right now,
Right now,
the,
I am
the
trading the Qs to the upside
upside, right?
as
Yeah.
a way to circumvent any, and I'm not going to take a loss. That's not a, when it's just a runner position, there's no loss incurred, right? It's maybe profits that I'm
Yeah.
playing with at the moment, but this is my way to circumvent that. So
Okay. But
do
you're
you
not
mark your,
adding into those losing positions, right? Because those
I don't.
contracts right now are probably worth, I mean, you could buy those, you could buy more of those contracts, anticipating maybe Qs falling tomorrow.
Mhm.
But you're not
So,
buying into runners.
but you could say that I'm not anticipating. There's a reason why, right? So let's say,
Right.
let's play this out. Between now, today and tomorrow, let's say we rip up here, chop, and then overnight tomorrow we gap up all the way to 610. Now we have a fat gap
Mhm.
underneath us. We pull back. When this floor that we've reclaimed is lost, we're rock climbers, right? So whenever we get a foothold, we don't want to lose it. If that was lost, like, yeah, I could even take that a rejection trade off of that 610 with those 588s or 590s. And I wouldn't look at it as adding to a position, but taking a whole new one.
Ah, okay. I see.
I'm already in a trade. Yeah, I'm already in the Qs.
Yeah. Yeah, because this is where the whiplash of being on both sides of the current that I think is what uh, you know, shies me away from buying contracts. Like you're kind of shooting yourself in the right foot and then in the left foot, right? You're like going
Yeah.
up as well as you're buying something
Yeah,
down.
you don't want to try to, like, yes, I can be bearish, or even me being bearish doesn't translate directly to me being in a short position. I can just say that QQQ, right? Period, end of story, on the 24-hour time frame, as long as we are under this 611, which is 611, and then now that has been shifted because remember that 617 that we kept fucking slapping and slapping and slapping, that is where I will
Mhm.
return to bullishness, because it's and even if I did return to bullishness, it's not necessarily, I don't think I would take a trade on it. So
Mm.
but yeah,
Thanks.
I mean, there's a lot more to move through. And in fact, you could even say that what's happening right now is creating the empty space and leaving the holes behind that we're gonna,
Fill later.
pull back
Yeah.
into. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I was at my doctor. I wanted to hold, but I had to sell it. That's okay, man. I've made that mistake too many times of going and doing something. I actually went grocery shopping one time with NVIDIA calls and lost $13,000. Potter, I bought at the bottom, QQQ up 200%. Do I sell? You're hitting a target right now. So if you would like to trim and reduce your risk and make the trade free so you could explore all of this empty space potential up above us, which we just need. We just need that, but a little bit more. So when I put that Cantina music on, baby. But yeah, that's what we need to see. So you only got one contract? Ooh. Then I mean, if I was you, I'm in it to I'm trying to take it to 607.71. You said Reddit is running? Not a bad bounce. Oh, that empty space that we talked about yesterday to 147.81 is getting filled. Juicy, juicy, juicy. Oh, wait. If you have weeklies, let trim if you would like to. Do I think IWM will there be a retracement? Based on how we're ripping, eventually, yes. But right now, IWM is moving up into a key fucking level. God, I love my fucking job. Moving up into a key level. Do you see all that patience? All that let everybody else fucking deal with it. When we start to pick a direction and shove ourselves into the faces of where sellers control the price, that's when we look for that break. 607.72, 608.34. And if we go crazy today, 610.
I see 690 on SPY. First target, 50%.
That looks 689. 25 is a blatantly clear target.
Okay.
Yeah, that's super clear.
Okay.
You got wicks that you're fighting with right now, which might be considered the imbalance, but yeah, no, it's the upside. You ain't a savage. Ugh.
Hey Potter, QQQ, our target would be around 610. I'm looking at the 2 hour. It would be the bottom of the box.
It would be the points of contact at the bottom of this consolidation. Do you see the two taps right here? And then the overhead resistance that you fought with there at 610? Yes, that's a second target. You are not guaranteed to get that today, right? That's something that if you do have that setup, when we just hit, guys, there it is. So if you did if you didn't trim, or that is your first trim, or take profit if you have weeklies, there it is. Do you get it immediately when it X's the box? I mean, yeah, I'm pretty quick with, literally as I was talking to him, I had to stop twice because I had to get into that trade. I mean, like, again, when you start moving through things that sellers are adamantly trying to control, that's when the break happens. And when you get the big whip, like, let that morning price action in range, let it fight. Don't be a part of that. Look, if you this right here, hot dog water, because you have to fight for it. I don't want to fight. I want to win. So when we start breaking things down that they control, that's when I fire. And I mean, anywhere in here, you had multiple entries. You had the top of the box at 604.22. You had the wick at 604.48. And then, of course, the overhead, which obviously, if you're in that one. Now, because we are hitting that under, or we just hit that 607.92 right off of that floor, right? The first instinctual thing that most people are going to do is panic, which totally understandable, but that's why we have a plan. Now, I don't see anything other than the 50% mark between here and here as a viable support. So here to here, right? And you can already see price trying to pull itself up. If it loses it, we're going back to retest. But we also have to, again, if you look at the hourly, that is one of the first and most solid targets. We're going to have to fight to get into the rest of it, which is still a good setup.
I forgot to tell you, Happy Lunar New Year's, bro.
Happy Lunar New Year. Oh, yeah.
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 You know what you do on Lunar New Year's, you do all year long. So I guess we making money
Yeah.
and being patient.
It's my favorite Chinese too. It was Chinese New Year yesterday.
Yes, sir.
Shout out to
Made a
China.
little baggie to go shopping.
Shout out to China. China, China, China. Love China.
China's got the best stuff.
Me and Xi Jinping have
For
done some
cheap.
crazy Chinese positions together. He put his leg over my head, and I loved it. My
Bro, you
tiny
seen
baby
the
hands
Chinese
running across his
robot?
Chinese body. I'm sorry.
What's this? The year of the dragon? What is this? Year of what?
Great
It's the
guy.
year of the bag.
The year of the horse.
Yo, Jade says, oh my god, stop the voices triggering my fight or
Thank
flight.
you. Year of horse.
I'm scared.
I love tease all presidents. Yeah, IWM was juicy, brother. I was kind of mad that I
Call
didn't swing
mobile.
more of those hedges.
Potter mobile. Where are we looking at with these cues?
I would like to take it up to 609.84 at 610. I've already trimmed a couple of times, and now I am watching the lower time frame.
Yeah, me too. I got like 250% on them, so I got rid of 2 of them at 4.
Nice. Myron Akang Nice Malaman Marari. Damn. Filipino is hard. I have something to know. Can you ask a question? What?
Yeah, I did.
There was a solar eclipse yesterday. This is America.
I tell you, Potter, I got to tell you, when it originally opened up, I bought them. I went down a little bit, and I was in a negative, and I'm like, this thing's coming back up. You gave me that confidence.
Hell yeah, man. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. You've been improving a lot. I've watched now over the last couple of months, man. You've been taking some pretty fire steps, and your analysis on the cues is getting better and better. Some of you guys get crazy returns. I'm happy when I get 50%. Jane, you know, the percentage is just a byproduct of using my strategy. What's up? He said, y'all laughed at me, but now I'm rich. Yeah, you were down this morning, though. Tell them, weren't you, Zebo? You're like the Karate Kid teacher guy of trading? You mean Mr. Miyagi? Thank you. Pinterest, dude, that is one candle on the 24-hour, and the only I see I mean, you kind of already hit it. It's 1663 and 1723. So, wax on, wax off, baby. Ugh. Does Wolf look like it can go up to 21, or should I get out? 21? That doesn't look bad. I don't really see this as like a huge overhead resistance. I still see 2080. So I mean, it's still, yeah. I mean, you're okay now. Wolf moves a little wonky, but you opened up outside of $20. You cannot lose 20 today. Hughes. Yo, no way. Monica commented on my comment. Oh, that's what AO was talking about. You said RXT ripped today? Valhalla Farms. Valhalla Farms. You grow Viking nugs or something, dude? What are you growing over there? Rackspace. Oof. It could go up more. I mean, this is a significant floor that you've recovered. Obviously the goal here on the weekly is to maintain and hold that. All right, come on, Q's. Yeah, you don't really see. Look how even the top. Look at that red candle. Do you see that? Did everybody just watch that? Look at that shit. You open up outside of that red candle, and it uses it, pushes off of it. All right, that is 608 on the diddly dot. Maybe not the right way to word it in this day and age, but not
It's
on
okay,
the diddy
bro.
dot.
I'm a looking and I'm a liking.
I'm looking and I'm liking. All right. Never had another man tell me that ever in my life. You're
No,
the
bro,
first.
about the cues, not you.
Oh no, but you said it. You didn't give me context, brother. Context is so important.
You said, did you see that red candle?
Hey, yo, bruh.
Listen, I'm just trying to exist in this world, and
That's it. I'm coming over to Savannah. That's it.
All right, that's it. I
Why
want
would
my
you
money
say
back.
that afterwards? Oh my god! Look at it. Ah! Okay, go ahead and sell a little bit more. I fucking love my job. Lock my doors. He said, I'm looking and I'm liking. Banks, there's a little here. These should be at the bottom left-hand corner of your screen.
Or you mess my algorithm up. Every time I go to type anything P, it comes up Poppy.
Well, what?
Retired military. I'm on my way to paying respect to my homies. I raise cattle. Hell yeah, man. Hell yeah, dude. 400% sold on QQQ. Thank you, Potter. 1 month ago, I didn't even know what a candlestick was. Get the fuck out of here, dude. Get out of here, dude. That's fucking cool, bro. Hell yeah, man.
That's money, dude.
That's money, dude. Never had I had my thumb hurting from thumbing a guy. Okay, Buster Media. We'll go ahead and add that to a list.
Uh-oh.
Just put you on a watch list. But I do
It's a little
appreciate,
bitty zone.
dude, when people make money, bro, people start saying the weirdest shit to me. I swear to God. Especially men. Women don't, that's what I'm talking about. Women they just stay cool. But men,
Here comes the love fest, Potter.
yeah, dude, I get
608.92 next target.
on the cues.
Yeah. The
Do you-
bottom of that green
right
candle.
here, Chad, I am extremely curious on how we're going to respond because this has been a massive level. This is your old cost basis. So this is one of those major targets. If, yes, to your point, if we can continue moving forward,
Okay.
it's 609.89 and 610 basically. It would be the targets in the same overhead resistance and floor that we had to maintain. So, but everything from here, guys, should be risk-free, right? And we need to hang on.
You know it.
Just by my side.
Spy's not going as fast, but it's a similar setup.
Yeah, just hold your questions if you're on TikTok for just a second. Just watch what you spin because my mama need rent and my neck gotta look like a freezer. I don't do any of those things, but it sounds cool. I
just
got rid
sold
of
my
9
last
out of
2.
10.
Bought them.
What'd you say?
Bought them for 80. Sold it for 250.
Sheesh! Hot damn, baby.
Man, he is the Q whisperer. You got any signals you want to sell, bro? No, I'm kidding.
See that mic? That mic is oh, Banks, are you on monthly? Ah, that's why. We have it so that if you would like to type a question, I know, yeah, monthlies can't talk. With a big rat. Meant to
Hey,
send that to
Potter,
you yesterday, Dejin. What's up?
I had a question on when did you know to take the QQQ setup? Yeah, I'm looking at the chart. I'm struggling on when to find like the entry for it.
Okay. Yeah, no, let's talk about it. So, first of all, right, typically we look at our overhead, like what happened this morning was in alignment with with the overhead resistance, correct? Right? So, when we
Okay.
opened up this morning, 605.75 was already tapped in pre-market, basically
Mm,
giving you or already setting it up. If resistance breaks, this is a simple concept. We're looking at our next target.
mm-hmm,
So orb was automatically a factor here today, right? Orb,
mm,
the only thing we had to clear was our wicks. So going into the bell, price was already moving down to fill that gap from yesterday. Now, how we respond to that gap and what happens off of that bounce will typically determine the direction that you go. Okay.
mm-hmm,
So we fill the gap, we bounce. Now, when you bounce, as I was saying, what you're able to recover is going to dictate, right? What happens.
mm-hmm.
Now, this is where the magic happens. What's that?
The
That's our
pit,
box,
the
right?
hour, yeah, that's
That
a
is a
box.
Potter box on the 5 minute. Now, what's above it right here?
Another box. Oh, empty
No,
space.
there you go. Empty space, right? So, how does empty space fill?
Pretty fast.
Fast, right? You say, nah,
Mm-hmm.
say it with your chest. No.
Oh, okay. My bad. My bad. It filled up pretty fast.
Yeah, that's right. Fills up fast, right?
Speak with
So,
your chest, little
um, but anyway, we want if okay, so this is a lower time frame setup that bleeds into a higher time frame setup, right? So if I
Mm-hmm,
want a great position to take this trade, and this is where I talk about higher time frame, beautiful bounce on the cues, higher time frame and lower time frame confluence. If I am taking this punchback and that punchback leads me into empty space, which I know will fill fast, if that
mm-hmm,
takes me to 605, it's also taking me to where? The higher time from resistance and the 5 minute cost basis inside of the box, which would also trigger a new high. So I'm seeing these, right,
mm-hmm.
or building a trading plan on the lower time frame in order to align with that higher time frame break. So my entry was looking for this cost basis to break over 604.25, and there was better entries. Obviously, if you took the bounce off the box this morning, that was a worthwhile bounce to take, and something that's worth exploring. But confirmation lied in not only punching through this box, but simultaneously recovering the floor from this morning's pre-market. Right here, you are. So by
Mm-hmm.
punching through that box, you get the floor, you get the empty space. If the empty space fills, the price will be at 605. So in order to position myself in a way that allows me to deal with whatever price does at that overhead resistance, I've created this lower time frame trade setup so that way I could take that punch back and get this potential break. So that was the entry. And there is, yes,
Okay.
of course, like taking it at the highs.
Mm-hmm.
But that's the beauty of being able to use or drop down into a lower time frame to build that setup or find, okay, if I'm going to find the 5-minute Potter box empty space at that overhead resistance to give me that break. And I do that almost, 9 times out of 10 on most of the higher time frame setups that I see.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, man. Thank you.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, so when we find confirmation was through that punch back through the lower time frame box. Right there, yeah.
That gave us the opportunity to create confirmation, right?
Okay.
So what I'm saying here is, like, ignore everything else I just said and just focus on the 5-minute. The 5-minute punch back, empty space, no box. So your first target is 605.71.
Mm-hmm.
And again, on the higher time frame, that 605.50, that's our break. That's where we need a candle close or a push outside of. And so as I move down, right, it changes ever so slightly, but the 15-minute, same overhead resistance. So that 5-minute setup, that 5-minute box that I took into that little bit of empty space set me up to be already in the trade for when that break could or more likely would occur. Can you guys hear me still?
Hi, baby girl.
I just disconnected and reconnected.
Everything's
Can you guys hear
okay,
me?
I promise.
Made money before I go to work. Thank you, Potter. You got it, baby. Now go harass Alex Straits for. I'm just kidding. I'm just joking. Don't do that. Don't do that. Leave that poor beady-eyed bastard alone. We've put him through enough, for now.
Potter, you cut off for me for some reason. I don't know what happened.
No, my whole shit just shut down. For some weird reason.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, what was I saying? What was the last thing you heard?
We saw the 15-minute punch back. I mean, we saw the 15-minute time frame also, and how that leads to like the bigger trade of the day.
Yeah. So, let's just do this one last time, right? So I wake up and I say, well, we're inside of this range, right? Both on the higher time frame and just plain and simple. In order for us to go up and test whatever overhead resistance, which we're at right now, we have to get outside of this box. So simple plan, and the higher time frame should always be simple, right? You want to simplify weekly and 24-hour this to this. You don't really need to dig it any further. So let's get rid of everything. Okay, so we need a break. Price opens up at resistance. If you've gone through the workshop, what happens to price when you open up at resistance? If anybody knows, answer. If not, I need to remind everybody. If you open at resistance per the rules, per the workshop, you're going to fall. Now, it doesn't mean that you're going to reverse and you're going to keep dumping, right? Unless you open up underneath a box, then you will continue to fall to whatever support you have underneath you. But what this does is by opening up at resistance, we have the opportunity to go down. And I know that the first move is more than likely going to be down. And because we have a gap, I want to see how that gap or how price responds to said gap. That's it. I drop down because I need more context. Okay, so now on the 2-hour, this trade is clearing up even more. I have a first wick here to my left. I have a clear overhead at 605. We've opened up there. We couldn't close outside of it. We have the gap underneath us. That's what we need to bounce off of. So I move down again. Again, the plan is simple. I'm just taking this trade from this break to this floor and then hopefully this 610 floor, which we're still in the process of trying to do. I just got a ban for bullying and harassment. Damn. That's because I told him to
do it for his chest.
Yeah, I said say it with his chest, dude. Oh my god.
Come on, coach, take it easy on the kids.
Sorry,
You
I'm
also
sorry.
told them to go fuck with Alex, so I don't know if that helps.
Yeah, I did. That's all right. If I do the crime, I can do the time. All right. Anyway, so moving on, right? We drop down to the 30-minute, and the same thing is true all the way across the board. That basically 605 and 605.75 are going to be the main overhead resistances. Period. End of story. But now, as we drop in, we have to actually build a plan, right? Or align the lower time frame with the higher time frame. So again, last time, we are looking on the higher time frame for a break over this area or higher time frame area of consolidation up and out.
Mhm.
So now the plan begins. 15-minute time frame. I can already again acknowledge that price opened up at the highs. That was our open, our floor of 604.16. This was the box that obviously we were unable to punch through. And this is the gap and box that holds that gap.
Right.
All right. So now that we know exactly what we're trying to do and we're on the lower time frame, we're trying to set up a plan to take this trade that is in alignment with the higher time frame. Okay.
Mhm.
Every single time, right, or every single time we have a green candle like this, it serves as a floor. And again, if we open up at resistance and this is destined to continue moving down, then at the gap, when you bounce, these floors should reject. If they
Mhm.
don't, and again, the same thing that is true on the higher time frame is true on the lower time frame. So I can take or identify a punchback and empty space where it aligns with the higher time frame resistance. Is everybody following me here? I don't want to lose anybody. I am just finding the lower time frame setup inside of that higher time frame resistance because I am again mostly basing my trades off of that.
Garrett, can I ask you something?
Sure.
If there wasn't empty space above that 5-minute box inside the higher time frame box, would you still took that early entry?
I would have used this because assuming that there was an empty space, then there would be a box, and I could either that right there where you have that. So this is a very open and clear refusal to grab onto that floor. So that right there, regardless of there being empty space, would be a suitable entry or a suitable stop loss, right? When you control something that strong and price moves over it, that's a stop loss for me, baby, all day. The stronger the box, the more likely we're going to retest it and it will bounce. All right, real quick, guys, we are starting to see a little bit of price slippage. So we're going to go back to the 1 minute where we built a box. We have a box directly up above us. I'll get back to what the explanation here in just a second. Hold on. Okay. There's empty space.
Retesting that cost basis.
There's empty space right here too. So watch what price does here. Give you 2 seconds. I'll get back with you. Dude, thank you for all the gifts this morning, Ulysses. Yeah, sorry. Probably say your name wrong.
Rhonda, this is where we are going back to try and get more buyers in to push price further up, right?
Yes. It's there's so many things working at once, and a lot of psychological things are just automatically tied into it, which amplify those effects. So while yes, price moves down to short, right? Institutions or prices also, we know that the majority of the volume is at the 50% mark. So if when we're up against a price and we don't have the orders to make that happen, we'll come back to grab the volume that we need and then use this tension that we've created above to get that order or to get that extra push. So yeah. Now, if it fails, again, this isn't a traditional box, you still have the floor to tap off of. And I am on the 1 minute. So Haba is up. Lulu does look good. I am watching Lulu right now. On the right side of my chart, guys, I'm watching Lulu as it approaches that 181. Do you see right now? Like even that overhead resistance, you're using it. If you are on TikTok, you guys can go to YouTube, but I'm going to restart this stream if you guys would like to hop back on. Thank you guys. I appreciate it. When you hop back in, hopefully I can keep my mouth shut. All right. I'll be right back. 30 seconds. Damn. 14,000 people saw my face this morning. Makes me a little uncomfortable. All right. Now, let's get back to what we were talking about here. So, and let me, because I feel like I might be overcomplicating this. Higher time frame, acknowledge a good setup, and then we use the lower time frame to try to spot a lower time frame setup to take this trade. So my theory is that if there is empty space up to that higher time frame resistance, and I have a box that is going to trigger that, right? If you break this box, there's nothing to stop you. So if I take this trade here, it puts me in that position, right? So I'm literally already profitable, or I already am in, quote unquote profits, at the point in which this trade would confirm that it's going to go for that break. So I found a opportunity to take this trade or front run it a little bit in order to, hold on 1 second. All right, a lot of see that push overhead right there? Price is responding.
Where was your stop? If you would have had that entry and would have just been the bottom of that 5-minute box?
That could have been a stop loss. That could have been a stop loss, and that could have been a stop loss. All three of those.
And where did you actually buy? Did you buy at that bottom point, or did you buy on the right there?
No, when this candle started engulfing the floor and literally went for that close, I started pressing my orders. I didn't get filled on the first one, so I canceled and resubmitted and got filled basically as price was moved. That's why I stopped talking. Higher. Yeah, literally just a little bit higher. So, okay.
Right there, what would you have used for your stop?
Right where?
On your entry, the bottom of that 5-minute box?
Yes. Yeah. Bottom, top, or middle. Obviously, the bottom and the top are a little bit better. Now, real quick, did everybody just see that? Again, if my system was bullshit, I wouldn't be able to teach you like this. I wouldn't be able to do this live and translate. And I'm also helping myself by doing this. But that is, again, empty space. See how price kind of explodes up? You hit the 50% mark of that or the previous structure. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, third, fall, cost basis, floors being reclaimed, empty space here, 607.97. What are you fighting with right now? I don't know, actually. Let me find out. You're fighting with that first green candle over here on the 45-second. Temporary little fight.
Dang, bruh. That's like mind-blowing stuff. I don't know.
This is the 1 minute, but it's only important. Why is this important? Does anybody know why I might be on the 1 minute right now? I've answered this question a lot. Just trying to see if that's been retained.
Clarity.
There you go. That's a good answer. Yeah, clarity. But what happens to price? What does price do that makes or requires me to zoom in? It moves fast.
Consolidation.
It moves fast, right? The faster something moves, the less data I have, right? What do I do with this? How do I manage this? I can't. What about this? Nah. What about that? It kind of makes me want to have a seizure. What about this? I can see it, but it's not clear like I like it, right? I go to the 2 minute. Okay, maybe we could, that's where things definitely brighten up for sure. Now, 1 minute differs from that time frame, but I also don't like ignoring double wicks like that. So I'm going to stick with that 50% mark, which again, clarity is here. So
okay.
The faster a stock moves or the less information that it provides for me in areas like this is an important area for me to be. I'm not always doing this. Like this morning, I didn't need to be on the 1 minute inside of that box on the Qs, did I? Did you guys see me move it down? I didn't. because we're stuck in a range, and until like 5-minute, 15-minute boxes up above me break or start to be reversed upon or candle close, I'm not really interested in doing that. But when we start ripping and moving fast, and I have no data, right? I know what we're trying to do, right? What we're trying to do right now is we're trying to grab hold of the floor. That's what this attempt is doing, because obviously there's more empty space and opportunity up above us, but that's what I'm trying to find out. So as a, good researcher, I'm trying to see, okay, so again, we're at the 15-minute. The 15-minute is trying to close on this floor. That is clear, but what's happening right here is not. And I also know that if we can't reclaim this floor, that we will pull back and retest 606.41. So in order for me to protect myself from that potential scenario, I'm here where my strategy is at its clearest.
So the 1 minute gives us clarity on what's happening for the bigger move to happen?
If it's moving quicker. Okay. So the only time that I'm using the 1 minute is when I need, like, okay, we are hitting a 15-minute, 30-minute overhead resistance. That's 608. Remember this morning I talked about this being our first target? That's because it's my first resistance. Now, how sellers resist matters to me. And because I cannot see on the 15-minute, I mean, I could just sit here and watch, but it's those wicks like that would scare me, right? Or I wouldn't know what are we pulling back to. But when I go to the 1 minute or even the 3 minute, I see structure and I have clarity.
Got you.
Would you call that a punchback on the 5 minute on the cues?
Probably, yes. That's a punchback.
Good cost best prospections? Okay.
Yeah. Now the overhead resistance is 608.75. So that is the first new high outside of a 1 minute box. 1 minute boxes are only going to give you so much, obviously, unless we can reclaim this floor, then we'll start to see price continue moving forward. But what you just watched there, yes, was a punchback, and also a great, I mean, I love teaching like this. Like, I really do. I'm passionate about this right here, because this is where your brain needs the information and I can feed you. Pause. Open up wide, baby.
Okay.
What do I suggest with this kind of movement? What do you mean? What do I suggest? Like how to make trading it? Oh, no pullbacks? You got to be on a lower time frame if you're trying to catch this, which means that you probably should be pretty skilled at what you're doing. Now, we've just created an empty space, ran up, hit that first target that I talked about. Again, higher time frame, 608. Actually, hit 608.69. And I really don't have any greater detail here, but what I am going to do, let's just use the box here. So we're syncing the box. A retest could happen at 607.96, but we'll just let price do what it needs to do. Good candle close on the 3.
You need to clip the last 10 minutes because this was freaking gold, dude.
Let me see. All right. It's on YouTube, actually. I'm streaming this on YouTube, so I can clip it there.
But Garrett, your next target on the Qs will be 609 though, right? On the hourly?
Yes, 609 and some change. Which,
Buenos
I mean,
dias, by the way.
Yeah, buenos dias, brother. Yeah, I mean, this is...
Microsoft just went over 400, 401, or it's testing 401. Just I know you were watching that.
Thank you, thank you.
It's not ready yet, but...
I'm taking it. I'm taking it right now just because Chad said it. Chad signals. I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
I'm just joking, guys. Don't take it. I mean, honestly, you could. You could set a stop loss. It's just not confirmed and a little bit more risky, but because you did grab that floor, you could set it. If you have a longer expiration, you could set a stop loss on that. There's a great trade on Microsoft, dude. Oh my God, that's a good setup. Code on my wrist. It's auction now. They can sit down for the description for Utopia.
Looking at 410s for like 2 weeks out, or
you said what? Say that again. I'm sorry.
410s for 2 weeks out, something like that.
Yeah. I mean, I probably
maybe
will.
3.
Yeah. I was gonna say I might. What strike are you taking on this one?
I just on the chart, I'm at the 1 hour. I'm looking at 410. Is that middle of that imbalance there?
That's a good target. Yeah, that would help. And you
Got that green wick to the left, and that's middle of the imbalance. I think that'd be a good test.
wow,
I haven't even looked at the
417.
contracts yet, though. But
I'm looking
I
at the
don't know.
contracts right now. They're a little pricey at that 410 strike. They drop off at 415 though.
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying.
Do I trade options?
March 20th.
Yes. March 20th? No, that's, I mean,
perhaps too far out.
You could say that's
Yeah.
too far. I mean, to really profit
Okay.
off of that move, you need, some balance between the, I would say maybe March 2nd or
Okay.
February
Okay.
27th could be a decent area. Again, you would just have, maybe buy less of that strike, but that's actually a decent price for Microsoft.
Yeah, it's not bad. Okay, thank you.
These play-by-plays are honestly what helped me the most. That's why I'm doing it more. That's why I keep doing this is when I have the opportunity to explain as it's happening, which again is just, helps people build trust in this system, because when somebody's saying that this and this will happen if this happens and then it does, it's like, okay, well, he said it, I saw it, I trust it, you build that trust with it. Is this futures? I am the future. I obviously buy puts. Come on. No, I don't want to. I just made 200+% on the upside, and I'm just holding on to runners. And I mean, if you take that retracement down, it could be a great setup for a 606.45 retest, but I'm just holding on to runners.
One last question, Garrett, before I'm out of here. Did you take 610s or 607s?
I took 608.
All right.
My SoFi alert just went off as well. It's breaking out.
I do have 610s though, Jorge. You said what? Chad, sorry.
SoFi just also alerted on a breakout. It's a smaller empty space play, but
yeah, $20 target from here. I mean, it's not even a dollar move.
Yeah,
but
it's a dollar.
Yeah,
you're
100% correct. I mean, if you're playing the range, that could be pretty decent. I'm OJ. Okay.
Hughes wants it.
Yeah, it's fighting using the cost basis.
We all know what someone needs to do.
I bought every V12 engine. Wish I could take it back to the beginning. Who are
Hey,
the
Potter,
other cats on my stream? They're in my Discord. What's up?
Oh no, I was just gonna say thank you, man, for helping me out.
Yeah.
You've helped me out with the clarity, and I low-key get why we go back to the 1 minute and whatnot.
Good, man. That's and those kind of epiphany moments. God, those epiphany moments are the building blocks for progression. So that's good to hear, man. Question: how is day trading profitable if stocks move so slow? I am so glad you asked that. Ooh, that's a good question. So I want to tell you a secret, Memes Daily. 80 to 90% of market movement is outside of trading hours. So I am not a day trader. However, I do find myself in situations like this every once in a while when the tension is at its high and that overnight price action does not relieve price of that tension. That is where day trading, God, I love this shit. That's where day trading works out real good. If you obviously have runners still, you can sell a little bit as into strength. And now, again, this is just a small new high here, but that's a great example, right, of how we're utilizing the structure underneath us to keep ourselves in the game. Do you call what you do swing trading? I mean, it's somewhere in between sometimes. I mean, I'm swinging into like day trading sometimes. But I just do what the chart tells me to do. The chart says you got to take it today. I'm like, okay, I guess we got to do it today. If it's a good setup, I do whatever it tells me to do. If it's a day trade, it's a day trade. If it's a swing trade or a day trade into a swing trade, then I guess that's what I'm doing. AMD, Meta, those trades that I mean, I made a lot of money on those two trades in particular. And that was a that was a day trade that closed perfectly for a swing trade, so I held. I you know what? I had this conversation a long time ago. It's like, you know, some part of me does look at labeling yourself as limiting yourself. I am a day trader. I'm a swing trader. I'm whatever I need to be to make money, baby. I'm a stock market. Never mind. Is that a Nike sweater? Nike guy, dude. Look at this dude. Yes, it is. That's a Nike guy, bro. I love when screen names match. That's fucking hilarious. Yes, this is a Nike sweater. That's funny. All right. That's awesome. Do I have a full-time job? No, this is my full-time. You know what I see on cues? Channel. So we might be slowing down here, and this would make total sense, right? We're just dealing with runners right now, and we're seeing sellers try to exhibit some form of control on this. Now, if this breaks out, fine. I'm happy with it. But we are moving into lunch. It is 10:50. We should expect for price to slow down. Hopefully you guys are all in profits and everything else is just runners. So again, you can underneath 607.25, you could try to get out of those. But it feels like rolling dice. It does when you don't have a strategy. If motherfuckers can count cards and get kicked out of casinos, then you could figure this shit out. I mean, and counting cards is probably way harder. I don't know. Me personally, when people say that day trading or trading in general is gambling, it's like, yeah, I get it. I get why somebody who's new and maybe failed at this would say that. Or they had the wrong mentor. I mean, think about how many people join and they just stick to whatever mentor pops up on their For You page first. And they don't like, it's like, well, actually, I didn't like for people to do testimonials, and I still don't. I don't want testimonials based off of me teaching you. I want testimonials based off of the results, because one of the shittiest things that people do is they ask for testimonials during the teaching process. And if you're teaching someone bullshit, they're still going to feel like you're a genius. Oh my God, a bull flag? I never thought about that. And it's like that right there will have you latched onto somebody. Like, who cares about, like, whatever they're teaching you needs to be happening, right? You need to be seeing that other people are actually making money off of it. And independently too is, you know, another added importance there. But, you know, I'm a big, I want to see the results. If you're going to leave a testimonial, it's because shit's working out for you. By the way, if you have any testimonials to post, no, I'm just kidding. Does volume play a role? It does, but it's a lagging indicator. As you guys can tell, I don't have any indicators or anything on my chart. Volume has, I mean, you could have low trading volume and have high institutional volume. I mean, like, I've seen days where you don't move have high volume because it's a back and forth between sellers. I guess with my system now, the longer I used my system and the more I started to trust it, the less I needed those indicators to do anything for me. I mean, I even saw this morning, apparently this guy, there's a dude streaming. He was like trading on Wall Street. He was like a stockbroker, which doesn't have anything to do with what we're doing. And he had a fucking EMA, and he was like, "Yeah, when we cross this EMA," and I'm like, again, it took a lot of confidence for me to be like, I think I have something new and better than what everybody else is using, because I felt like, who the fuck am I? I'm just some random dude. But eventually you see something happen enough times, you see floors get recovered and then price move up, or you see a break of consolidation after 3 waves. It's like, well, what do I need an indicator for to tell me that it's going to go up? And then what variable or what role does that play as I'm trading? Yeah, it just doesn't make any sense to me. I made 465 today on Microsoft today. Woot. Oh shit, on silver. Yeah, Microsoft is actually moving really well. If anybody did just snag that right now, I'm looking at an overhead lower time frame target of 402.21 to get up to 402.89. Oui. The long way. Are you that guy on YouTube? I don't know what that means. I am on YouTube, but what's up?
About it. Regarding Microsoft, the reason we are taking 2 weeks out is because it's not clear overhead free space, right, to move up.
We're taking 2 weeks because we're taking it before the structure breaks. I'm utilizing the floor before cost basis, before the break over 405. I am front running this strategically, because the floor does give me an opportunity. Third tap here at the Qs. You can, again, if you would like to remove any risk. I'd like to see this break this channel, however, and see persistence paying off like that. Again, channels are not the rule of law. They are only exhibit control, and control can fail. If you would like to know why I went long on the Qs, you could actually go back on real quick. You can go back on the Qs, and you can go back on YouTube, and you can actually watch us talk about the entry before it happens, and then why I took that entry. So, no, this is TradeStation. All right, TikTok and YouTube. I'm going to go ahead and shut these streams down. Hopefully you guys were able to make some cheddar. We are already halfway to our second target, so everybody should be, if you did take this trade with us, and you are holding runners, if you did have a runner and everything was risk-free and you got out for no reason, hopefully you just learned from this lower time frame why we don't until we actually see a trigger. 609.86 is the first target up above us. We're 50% of the way here. Everything is in profits, and you can get rid of this channel. You don't want to fall back into it, but more importantly, you want to stay above this box. But if these punch back, obviously there's empty space down below for a reversal. But other than that, when did I enter? Through this box at 603.92 and 604.28. Into that empty space and overhead break of 606.42. All right, TikTok, YouTube. I'll see you guys at 2:30 p.m. Eastern time. Take care of yourselves. Stay safe. And yeah, watch for that 610 target here.
Bye-bye.
We're $1 away. Class is March 1st, and if you won't make it to class, make sure to go to my YouTube channel and go look at the educational playlist. All right.